let me bring in the EU Ambassador to India, Ugo Astuto. Many thanks, Ambassador, for speaking to us. Russia claims that Ukraine is developing a dirty bomb and this will end up pulling NATO into the conflict. How would you respond to these claims, sir?
Well, let me be very blunt here. These claims have no credibility whatsoever. We have seen that before. We have seen actually a long track record of disinformation and false allegation. And the latest claim about Ukraine allegedly preparing a dirty bomb is no exception to this pattern. It actually looks as a possible pretext for Moscow for further escalation in a war which Russia is clearly losing. And incidentally, Ukraine has called on the UN to go and witness directly that such allegations are totally fabricated. So this is part of a now traditional tactic from the Kremlin to use propaganda to blame others, and Kiev in particular for what Russia might be thinking of doing. And actually, as of now, Russia is already risking a potential nuclear disaster with its totally reckless occupation of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station in Ukraine.
So, Ambassador, what do these claims from Russia indicate then, if you are suggesting that these are false?
Well, in my opinion, this indicates that the Russian leadership is starting to understand that they are losing the war. On the battlefield, we see Ukrainian forces gaining ground. On the domestic front, we see thousands of young, educated Russians fleeing their home country to escape the draft for an unjust war. Internationally, we have seen 143 members of the UN General Assembly voting in favor of the resolution to preserve the territorial integrity of Ukraine and defending the UN Charter against Russia's aggression. And finally, economically, where the sanctions are starting to bite. So I think this is an evidence of the fact that it's a growing awareness in Russia that the war is being lost.
But Ambassador, the nuclear rhetoric is very worrying. How and who will send a message for piping this down?
I agree with you in the sense that together with NATO, we have been consistent in asking Russia to stop its provocations, to drop its irresponsible claims, its innuendos about the possible use of nuclear power, and stop looking at pretext for escalation. So I think this unprovoked and unjustified aggression against Ukraine has lasted already for too long, with devastating consequences over the civilian population. And I'm afraid mounting evidence of war crimes being committed by Russian forces on Ukrainian soil. So it's definitely time for Russia to stop this war, and we see as we speak Russian forces targeting civilian infrastructure, resorting to terror tactics in a way, and blackmail. So this will not work, and the EU stands with Ukraine at this moment of need.
My final question, Ambassador. India's defense minister yesterday in the conversation with his Russian counterpart stressed that nuclear option should not be resorted to at any cost. What is the expectation from India as it maintains a neutral position, and the Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is now travelling to Moscow next month?
Well, I think it's very important that India's defense minister has reiterated to his Russian counterpart that the nuclear option is a no-go. The prospect of the use of nuclear weapons goes against the basic tenets of humanity, the minister said, and it's absolutely true. So the voice of India is a very influential voice on the world scene. It's crucial that this message is passed loud and clear. So Russia must stop its aggression and stop provocations.
Many thanks, Ambassador Astuto, for speaking with NDTV.